mushroom dance, mushroom dance. Whatever will it mean? It means you've lived a life of sin. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Yes, I apologize for taking like 1,000 years to make content, but you know, insecurities and stuff like that. Anyway, well, now that I'm back and I'm gonna be dishing out more content, and I finally figured out what I want to put out, and I'm finally comfortable with talking in the camera. I wanted to talk about, well, I'm going to be telling you about the things that I've learned this week. Yes, it's going to be a weekly thing, and it's going to be like long and filled with a lot of things. I'm kind of excited to tell y'all what I learned because I spend a lot of my time learning, you know, thinking about things, and then sometimes I apply those things that I've learned. But my main priority is to learn. I love learning. Like, there's nothing to me that is more important than learning. Like, I sit and I'm just like, so, nigga, what you gonna learn today? And then I just learned something. So this week, wow, I learned something about myself. Well, the fact that I love having background music while I work. Oh my word. Background music is so good, especially when you work. Cause I'm just like on some, yo, coding this side, yo, looking at API documentation this side, and it's just like a vibe. So it's like I really love background music. It's like, and it sucks because like I can't listen to music while I read, and I love reading. Oh my word! Not normal books like Harry Potter or Daniel Steele or something. Like, no, I'm not a normal person. I enjoy reading textbooks. You got like I buy a crap ton of textbooks. I'm even building a library in my. I'm not gonna show you, but I love reading textbooks, which is weird, but yeah, we move. And then yesterday I learned what OSINT is. Now, OSINT stands for I don't know what it stands for. Actually, it's open source intelligence. Ah, yes, open source intelligence, which is kind of a cool thing. Like, it's a way for hackers to find information about whatever they're trying to infiltrate or penetration test or whatever. Yeah. Like, that is what I learned. That is all that I learned. I just learned what OSINT is, and I think that's cool. OSINT is awesome. Another thing, I'm just gonna please buy Another thing I learned is what data serialization is. Now, data serialization is a way in order to put the information that you've gathered from a customer or from a database or from anywhere, and then you put it in a specific format that like defines it very well. Like, I'm gonna give you a diagram over here that shows you a example of data serialization, and it's like the format, right? It takes specific information and then puts it in a way that you can send it over the internet. The examples of data serialization formats are YAML, or I pronounce it as YAML. No, it's YAML, it's JSON, XML, and the like there's etc. But then like that's not the point. The point is. What is the point? The point is data serialization is really cool, and I didn't know what that was. Like in my assignments at school, they would usually tell me, yo, please make a toString function. And I was like, why do I need a toString function? That was them teaching me a variation of data serialization. And I was like, yes. And then the next thing that I learned, a lot of the people that know me know that I love Japanese. I actually love languages. I'm actually learning like 6 languages. They are German, French, Spanish, Chinese, like Mandarin, Japanese, Korean, and Latin. Right? So what I learned this week, in Japanese, before they eat, they usually say itadakimasu, which is, I think, like, I don't know particularly because I'm not Japanese, but they say it like, thank you for the food, or let's eat, or let's dig in. And it's like, yeah, man, food, you know? So, there's a Korean version of saying that, which is jal myuk sibnida, or it's chal myuk sibnida. Like, I don't, my pronunciation is not perfect because obviously I'm South African and I'm Zulu and all of that nonsense. But, I thought that was cool. It's chal myuk sibnida, which is, oh man, the Koreans also say, thank you for the food. The actual way to say thank you for the food in Japanese is gochiso sama deshita, which is thank you for the food, gochiso sama deshita. And then the person who made the food also would be like dotashimashita. But then that's not important. The important thing is chal myuk sibnida, which is itadakimasu for Korean. And I've been using it more when I eat, because before I'd say itadakimasu to myself because my family aren't really into the languages thing. So I basically told myself, I'm like, itadakimasu. So now I say both. I'm like, itadakimasu and then chal myuk sibnida, you know. And then the next thing that I learned is, so I'm really into physics. Right? I'm also into math and computer science, but that on that later. So I'm really into physics. So like I started reading this textbook called, I'm gonna pull it up now. I hope the recording does not bug out. It's called Relativity, Gravitation, and Cosmology by who? By Robert J. A. Lamborn. Now, this book describes Einstein's theory of relativity, both special relativity and general relativity. So the first chapter starts with them creating a basis for me to understand how they speak about general relativity and special relativity by describing things like, oh my gosh, I forgot, but I will tell you now what they describe. They describe events, frames of references, internal references, observers, and all of those things. I'm not going to explain that because that is not important, but they describe those things so that you understand them. Right? Sharp. So the cool thing that I learned this week was when they described the idea of time variation between two observers. Obviously, you know what an observer is, but corollary. An observer can be anything that measures oh my gosh, relativity is like no. An observer is anything that measures an event, or like observes an event. Now, I have to describe to you what an event is. Well, an event is an instantaneous occurrence at a specific point in space. So you have a vector. Oh my gosh, if you know what a vector is. Now you have a vector, a four-dimensional vector, right? Not a four-dimensional like this. It's a four-tuple vector, right? It has time and 3 dimensions of space, which makes the 4D space time. But that's not important. The important is that it's an event, right? So like there is a slight variation between the time that 2 observers experience, right? I mean, yeah, it's constant, and it's small enough that it's negligible, but there is a variation. Now, there are different ways to be able to map out these 2 variations. There are Galilean transforms, and then there are Lorentz transforms. And I thought that was very cool because I learned the difference, and I learned how to calculate the difference between the 2 experiences of time between the 2 observers. And oh man, that just, it made my day, because I really wanted to have a more in-depth understanding of Einstein's theory of relativity, because I mean, I don't want to be one of those nerds that's on some I know Einstein's theory of relativity. I do not know anything. Like, I don't know anything, and I'm just like I want to be able to like solve one of Einstein's field equations, and more on that later. Another thing that I learned this week is that self-love. Like, for the longest time, I wanted to start a YouTube channel, but I didn't, because I didn't like looking at myself. I just, sometimes you don't feel very pretty, and it's like, okay, then I'm going to be editing my own videos, and then I'm going to be looking at myself, I'm going to listen to myself, and that's no. So I just learned that I love myself very recently, and it feels good. It feels good because now I can talk to a camera and explain things that make absolutely no sense, that only play around in my head, and I feel like that's awesome. But anyway, people always tell me that my lips are dry. For the first time in history. I don't know who to thank, but my lips are not that dry, which is vibes, bro, vibes. So, what are things that I'm gonna learn in the future, or like next week? So, next week, I plan on having a better understanding of virtualization in the context of networks, right? So, like virtualization in general, like on the internet, there's a very cool thing where you can rent a computer, right? And then they load a operating system, they give you cores and all of that, and it is so cool. Like, you can just have a computer somewhere on the other side of the world that's yours. Okay, you haven't bought it, but you've rented a computer. Like, I think that's very cool. And then they use things like virtual machines and virtualization. Cloud computing, that's the idea. Cloud computing is the as you can see, I never have my thoughts in a concise and like planned out manner. I just blurt out a bunch of random information, and I hope people understand me. And at some point, maybe they will, but maybe they won't. Next week, I'm writing a formal logic exam, right? So I have to like practice. I'm gonna make a video on that, on what I understand so far when it comes to formal logic, and it's coming along. Like, formal logic is the study of like logic in like formalized logic, where we use actual languages to define specific structures in logic, using set theory to encompass a bunch of ideas. It's actually quite fun. Normal people wouldn't say that's fun, would they? No. And I'm planning on like improving my Korean and Japanese next week. I will get more on that later. And so I started reading this like paper on Kurt Gödel. That's how they pronounce it. I'm not sure if that's pronunciation, but Kurt Gödel's incompleteness theorem, right? It's two theorems that make up one thing. So I'm going to read more on that and talk about it, because I feel like that is very interesting. If you haven't noticed, I am into a lot of math and a lot of physics and a lot of nonsensical things, but then I'm also into coding at the same time. So look forward to that, you know? So thank you. Wow. I've been talking for 15 minutes. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening to me rant about the things that I've learned this week. This will be a weekly process, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Tell your uncles, tell your sister's uncle, tell that neighbor of yours that you don't like, even though you don't like them. Do it for me. Tell them to subscribe, to watch, and wait for more content later, because I'm going to be talking about a lot more things that, well, I think are fun. So, yeah. And please remember, I'm still learning.